If you are over 50, listen to me carefully. If you wake up every morning pouring yourself a tall glass of 100% pure orange juice, fixing a hot bowl of instant heart-healthy oatmeal, or spreading margarine on your slice of whole wheat toast, you need to stop right now. You might think you are doing exactly what you have been told to do for decades to protect your aging heart. You might even be taking a statin every night, dutifully believing that your morning routine is helping the medicine lower your cholesterol and keep your arteries clean. But the terrifying truth, backed by a massive wave of modern clinical research, is that this exact, heavily marketed morning routine is silently destroying your cardiovascular system. It is aggressively scraping away the delicate protective lining of your blood vessels, fueling a hidden fire of chronic inflammation, and actively building the very calcified plaque you are trying so desperately to avoid. You are not alone in this trap. Millions of well-intentioned seniors are eating a breakfast that acts like a biological wrecking ball to their heart health, all while believing they are making responsible, doctor-approved choices. The frustration of doing everything right, but still feeling exhausted and seeing poor lab results ends today. Before we dive deeply into the fascinating microscopic science of what is actually happening inside your chest, please remember that this video is strictly for educational purposes. Always consult your personal healthcare provider or cardiologist before making radical changes to your diet or lifestyle, especially if you are currently taking blood pressure or heart medications. I want you to completely change how you view your cardiovascular system. I want you to imagine your blood vessels not as simple, hollow, inanimate pipes, but as highly intelligent, dynamic, living tissue. The very inner lining of your arteries is called the endothelium. It is incredibly fragile, only one single cell thick, but it is arguably one of the most important organs in your entire body. Coating this delicate layer is a microscopic forest of hair-like structures called the glycocalyx. Think of the glycocalyx like the high-quality, non-stick Teflon coating on your favorite, most expensive frying pan. When it is healthy, fully intact, and functioning correctly, your blood flows effortlessly. Red blood cells glide past. Cholesterol particles bounce right off without sticking. And your arteries remain incredibly flexible, expanding and contracting perfectly second by second to regulate your blood pressure. But what happens when you take a harsh, abrasive steel wool pad and aggressively, repeatedly scrub that non-stick pan every single morning? You completely destroy the protective layer. The surface becomes scratched, highly porous, sticky, and damaged. Food starts to burn, smoke, and adhere directly to the bare metal. And unlike a frying pan, you cannot simply throw your arteries away and buy new ones. This is exactly what happens inside your arteries every single morning when you consume the standard modern breakfast. For the last 40 years, we have been completely brainwashed to fear natural saturated fat and wholesome eggs. In their place, we have dutifully substituted highly refined carbohydrates, hidden liquid sugars, and highly industrialized, toxic seed oils. Let us break down the triad of morning destruction, starting with the biggest imposter of them all: the traditional breakfast cereal and instant oats. For years, you have seen the bright red, heart-healthy stamps of approval printed proudly on boxes of processed grains. The biological reality is vastly different. When whole grains are heavily pulverized in factories into fine dust, extruded into fun shapes, baked at extreme temperatures, and stripped of their natural protective fiber matrix, They cease to act like whole foods in your digestive tract. The commercial food industry has essentially pre-digested these grains for you. When you eat a bowl of instant oatmeal or a fortified, colorful cereal, your body converts those refined carbohydrates into pure glucose almost instantaneously. This massive, unnatural wave of sugar floods your bloodstream. Now, you need to understand that your body considers highly elevated blood sugar to be a state of extreme metabolic emergency. Sugar in the blood is incredibly abrasive and toxic at high levels. That massive spike in glucose acts exactly like the steel wool on your Teflon pan. It physically shears off and destroys the delicate glycocalyx lining of your arteries. It literally strips away your cardiovascular protection within minutes of swallowing your supposedly healthy breakfast. But the cascade of damage gets worse. To deal with this toxic flood of sugar and get it out of your blood, your pancreas frantically pumps out a massive surge of the hormone insulin. Over time, as you repeat this exact process morning after morning, decade after decade, your cells become exhausted and deaf to the insulin signal. This is a condition called insulin resistance. Most people mistakenly think insulin resistance only matters if you have been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. But the undeniable truth is that insulin resistance is the primary, underlying driver of almost all modern cardiovascular disease. When your insulin levels remain constantly elevated in the background, it signals your kidneys to forcefully retain sodium, which directly drives up your blood pressure. It signals your liver to aggressively produce more triglycerides, which are the dangerous, free-floating fats in your blood that actively contribute to the formation of arterial plaque. You know that exhausted, shaky, brain-fogged feeling that hits you right around 10:30 in the morning, making you feel twice your age? That is not you just needing another cup of coffee. That is your brain crying out in distress because your blood sugar just crashed violently after that massive cereal spike. Now let us talk about the second member of the destructive morning triad. Fruit juice. You have been heavily conditioned to think a tall glass of orange juice is a fantastic, natural way to get your daily vitamin C. But from a strict biological standpoint, a glass of commercially processed, pasteurized fruit juice is virtually indistinguishable from a can of liquid soda. To get 8 ounces of juice, you are essentially squeezing 4 to 5 large oranges into a glass, but you are leaving behind the very thing that makes the whole orange healthy, the fibrous matrix that slows down digestion. Nobody sits down and eats 5 whole oranges in 30 seconds, but you can easily drink that much sugar in a few gulps. You have completely removed the protective fiber, leaving you with a highly concentrated dose of liquid fructose. Unlike glucose, which can be utilized by almost every single cell in your body and brain for quick energy, fructose can only be processed by one organ, your liver. When you flood your liver with liquid fructose first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, your liver is severely overwhelmed. It simply cannot process it all at once, so it instantly activates a survival mechanism and converts that excess fructose directly into fat through a metabolic process called de novo lipogenesis. This newly created fat accumulates around your liver organs, leading to a dangerous condition called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Even worse, this fat is packaged and exported into your bloodstream as very low-density lipoproteins, or VLDL. These are the notoriously small, dense, highly dangerous cholesterol particles that easily slip through your recently damaged, scratched endothelial lining. They get stuck deep inside the arterial wall, where they sit and wait to oxidize. And that brings us to the third and most critical piece of the puzzle: oxidation and inflammation. You see, the medical community owes you an apology because cholesterol itself is not the enemy. Cholesterol is a vital, irreplaceable building block for your sex hormones, your brain tissue, and every cellular membrane in your body. If you did not have cholesterol, you would die. The real enemy is oxidized cholesterol. Imagine a shiny piece of iron left out in the rain for a month. It rusts and crumbles. Oxidation is essentially biological rusting inside your body. What causes your protective cholesterol to rust? The answer is systemic inflammation, driven largely by the cheap industrial seed oils that are hidden securely in almost every commercially prepared breakfast item. We are talking about highly refined canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, and sunflower oil. These are essentially industrial lubricants disguised as human food. These oils are found in breakfast pastries, morning muffins, the seemingly innocent bread you use for toast, and even those supposedly healthy, fiber-rich granola bars. These seed oils are heavily extracted using harsh petroleum-based solvents like hexane, then bleached and deodorized using extremely high heat just to make them palatable. This brutal process makes them highly chemically unstable. They are heavily packed with omega-6 linoleic acid. When you consume these fragile, unstable fats, they become physically incorporated into your own cell membranes and into your circulating cholesterol particles. Because they are so incredibly fragile, they oxidize and rust rapidly when exposed to the highly inflammatory environment created by your elevated blood sugar. When an oxidized, rusted cholesterol particle gets trapped in the sticky, damaged lining of your artery, your body's immune system panics. It views this oxidized particle as a deadly foreign invader. It sends in specialized white blood cells called macrophages to clean up the microscopic mess. But the macrophages gorge themselves on the toxic, oxidized fat until they literally balloon up and burst, forming something pathologists call a foam cell. This microscopic graveyard of burst immune cells is the very beginning of atherosclerotic plaque. This is exactly what stiffens and narrows your arteries over time, severely restricts life-saving blood flow to your heart muscle, and eventually leads to the sudden plaque rupture that causes a fatal heart attack. So, let us summarize the reality of your morning routine. By eating a bowl of sweetened pulverized cereal with skim milk and a glass of healthy orange juice, you are simultaneously stripping away your arterial defense system with a massive glucose spike, forcing your liver to manufacture dangerous triglycerides from liquid fructose, and providing the unstable, oxidized seed oils that rust your cholesterol and build plaque. You are actively, albeit unknowingly, engineering a heart attack every single morning. But there is incredible, empowering news. The human body, especially the resilient cardiovascular system, possesses an astonishing, almost miraculous capacity for healing and regeneration. If you simply stop giving it the tools of its own destruction, you do not have to be a victim of your age. You can stop the microscopic damage today. You can heal your delicate endothelium. You can fully restore your slippery glycocalyx. You can completely change the trajectory of your heart health and your longevity after the age of 50 by implementing 4 specific, highly actionable steps starting tomorrow morning. Step number 1 is what I call the Savory Swap. We must fundamentally and completely abandon the modern concept of a sweet breakfast. Breakfast should absolutely not be dessert disguised as a meal. You must ruthlessly eliminate all refined carbohydrates, all liquid fruit juices, and all sweetened, flavored yogurts from your morning routine. Instead, you must build your first meal around high-quality, satiating protein and healthy, highly stable fats. Think about whole, pasture-raised eggs. For decades, you were wrongly told to throw away the vibrant yolk to save your heart, resulting in years of eating tasteless, rubbery egg white omelets. We now know definitively that the egg yolk is one of the most nutrient-dense, perfectly packaged substances on the planet. It is packed with choline, which is absolutely essential for preventing dementia and clearing fat from your liver, along with critical vitamins A, D, E, and K. The dietary cholesterol in eggs does not meaningfully increase your risk of heart disease. Rather, it provides the essential raw building blocks for your hormones and helps regulate your appetite hormones like leptin. If you do not like eggs, opt for a high-quality, grass-fed protein source like leftover steak or a bowl of full-fat, unsweetened Greek yogurt. By starting your day with heavy protein and stable fat instead of abrasive sugar, you keep your blood glucose completely flat. There is absolutely no insulin spike. There is no steel wool aggressively scraping your delicate arteries. Your energy remains incredibly stable for hours without the mid-morning crash, and your blood vessels are finally given the peace they need to begin healing. Step number 2 is to armor your gut lining with powerful soluble fiber. While I want you to strictly avoid instant pulverized grains, complex whole food fiber is crucial for your longevity. But you need the right kind. Soluble fiber acts like a sponge. It binds to old bile acids in your digestive tract and safely escorts excess, oxidized cholesterol out of your body before it can do harm. Even more importantly, it feeds your beneficial gut bacteria, which in turn ferment this fiber to produce a class of short-chain fatty acids, primarily one called butyrate. Butyrate is a biological miracle molecule for your heart. Think of butyrate as a soothing, anti-inflammatory lotion that is absorbed into your bloodstream and applied directly to the inside of your inflamed blood vessels. It dramatically reduces systemic inflammation and actively helps relax the arterial walls, lowering your blood pressure naturally. The best sources of this protective, healing fiber are not heavily processed breakfast cereals in cardboard boxes. Instead, simply add a tablespoon of fresh ground flaxseed or chia seeds to your Greek yogurt. Incorporate half of a slightly green, unripe banana, which is densely packed with a special type of fiber called resistant starch. Throw a large handful of fresh leafy greens into a morning egg scramble. These whole, unprocessed foods actively protect your endothelial lining rather than systematically destroying it. Step number 3 involves embracing and extending your morning fasting window. Who exactly mandated that you must eat the very moment your feet hit the bedroom floor? The actual phrase breakfast simply means breaking the fast. If you are currently struggling with stubborn high blood pressure, dangerous visceral belly fat, or climbing triglyceride levels on your blood panels, One of the most profoundly powerful things you can do for your heart is to simply delay your first meal. Try drinking only plain black coffee, herbal tea, or high-quality filtered water with a small pinch of natural sea salt, which is perfectly fine to take with your morning medications, for the first 2 to 3 hours after you wake up. This brief, effortless period of intermittent fasting allows your chronically elevated insulin levels to finally drop to their absolute natural baseline. When insulin is kept low, your body is biologically forced to switch from burning toxic sugar to burning your stored body fat for its primary fuel. More importantly, this extended fasting window powerfully triggers an ancient, elegant process called autophagy. Autophagy is your body's internal cellular cleanup mechanism. Imagine a microscopic team of Pac-Men sweeping through your arteries. During autophagy, your body actively seeks out and clears away damaged senescent cells, including the old dysfunctional cells lining your blood vessels, and efficiently replaces them with healthy, new, robust ones. Step number 4 is aggressively balancing your lipid profile by introducing powerful, healing omega-3 fatty acids. As we thoroughly discussed, the highly unstable omega-6 fats found abundantly in industrial seed oils are aggressively rusting your arteries from the inside out. We must strategically counteract that raging inflammation. Omega-3s act exactly like biological fire extinguishers in your bloodstream. They immediately calm the hyperactive immune response in your arterial walls, thin the blood safely and naturally to prevent abnormal, fatal clotting, and significantly improve the youthful flexibility of your blood vessels. While a high-quality, third-party tested fish oil supplement can be beneficial, getting these essential fats directly from whole foods is always superior for absorption. Consider adding a delicious side of wild-caught smoked salmon to your morning eggs. If you are blending a low-sugar, high-protein morning smoothie, throw in a handful of raw walnuts or a scoop of hemp hearts. By intentionally and consistently adding omega-3s to your morning routine, you are actively and aggressively repairing the deep oxidative damage caused by years of unknowingly eating the standard modern diet. Let me share a quick story about a patient of mine named Arthur. Arthur was 62 years old when he first came into my clinic, and he was absolutely terrified. His father had tragically died of a massive, sudden heart attack at the age of 65. Arthur had 2 young grandchildren, and he felt deep in his bones like he was a ticking time bomb, terrified he wouldn't live to see them graduate. He was already heavily medicated, on 2 different high blood pressure pills, a maximum dose statin for his cholesterol, and yet he was constantly, profoundly fatigued. Arthur passionately swore to me that he ate a perfect, heart-healthy diet. Every single morning for over 20 years, he religiously ate a massive bowl of raisin bran with zero-fat skim milk, a large banana, and a tall glass of store-bought orange juice. He diligently used hydrogenated margarine instead of natural butter strictly because his well-meaning doctor in the 1990s told him to fear all animal fats. When we ran his advanced, comprehensive lipid panels, the truth was undeniable. His triglycerides were absolutely through the roof. His HDL, which is the vital protective cholesterol that clears plaque, was dangerously low. The critical ratio between his triglycerides and his HDL warned us of severe insulin resistance, and his blood markers for systemic inflammation were alarmingly high. Arthur was actively, systematically destroying his heart while trying desperately to save it. I sat Arthur down and told him exactly what I have just told you. We completely overhauled his mornings. We enthusiastically threw out the sugary juice, the highly processed boxed cereal, and the toxic plastic-like margarine. We transitioned him immediately to the Savory Swap. He started eating 3 whole pasture-raised eggs cooked generously in real grass-fed butter or extra virgin olive oil, accompanied by half of a nutrient-dense avocado and a massive handful of sautéed spinach. At first, he honestly thought I was crazy. He was paralyzed with fear that the butter and eggs would kill him within a week, but he bravely trusted the biological process. Within just 3 short weeks, Arthur's natural energy completely returned. The color came back to his face, his morning brain fog lifted, and he stopped feeling that devastating mid-morning crash. When we finally retested his comprehensive blood work 3 months later, the results were nothing short of staggering. His dangerous triglycerides had plummeted by over 60%. His markers for silent arterial inflammation dropped securely into the normal healthy range. His blood pressure improved so dramatically and consistently that, working very closely with his primary cardiologist, he was able to safely and permanently wean off one of his heavy blood pressure medications. Arthur did not just slow down the progression of his heart disease. He actively reversed the environmental dietary triggers causing it, simply by changing the biological information he put in his mouth at 8 o'clock in the morning. Your incredible heart beats roughly 100,000 times a single day. It never takes a break. It never asks for a vacation or a sick day. It relies entirely on you and only you to provide it with the exact right internal environment to thrive. The food you choose to eat every morning is not just empty calories or fuel for the day. It is literal, powerful biological information. With every bite, you are either sending distinct instructions to your body to heal, repair, and build a strong, resilient cardiovascular system, or you are sending instructions to inflame, damage, and heavily block your precious arteries. It is a profound choice you make every single day. If you found this scientific information eye-opening and empowering, I strongly encourage you to walk into your kitchen and look closely at the ingredient labels in your pantry right now. Throw away the liquid sugar. Throw away the industrialized, inflammatory seed oils. Stop outsourcing your health and take back control of your longevity. If you want to know exactly what other hidden, deeply disguised toxins might be lurking in your kitchen cabinets right now, click the video appearing on your screen where I reveal the 5 supposedly healthy staple foods that are actually destroying your cellular metabolism. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss out on the uncensored, evidence-based truth about your health and longevity. Take excellent care of your heart. Remember that your health is in your hands, and I will see you in the next video.